We need to win the league. We want to win the Premier League. We want to win the Champions League. We want to win, were the words of Daniel Levy in a newly released interview with new CEO of Tottenham, Vinai Venkatesham. So how seriously should we take these words? And you can't take that interview at face value, and I don't mean to be pessimistic here genuinely, but the reality is, had we not won that Europa League final, it might have gone to 18 years of failure, of 19 years of failure. It might have continued to spiral. And the interview, while it was quite interesting, it was just them both praising each other. It was a pally, Dan, I think you've got really broad shoulders, how you deal with it. And don't get me wrong, when you've got these Levy out protests, it's so much for anyone to have to deal with. But the reality is, it has been failure up to this point, apart from the end of last season. He said, you need to be able to balance it in the league, in the cups as well. And that's ultimately why I got rid of Ange. We've all accepted that. It's just the reality of how it is. But we actually need to see more of that. Now, Vinai said some very interesting things, and he does have a track record of building relationships with fans. Journalists like Henry Winter have praised him and said he did a wonderful job at Arsenal. I wouldn't think too much about the fact that he was at Arsenal personally, but he said a football club exists to make its supporters proud, and the way you make your supporters proud is by competing to win and ultimately winning trophies. Now, you need to back that statement up, of course, but there were some very other interesting things in terms of their decision making as well. They went, Dan and I have known each other very professionally for a long time. That's fine. There won't be any decisions of any significance at the club that we're not completely joined at the hip on. We often disagree and challenge each other. That'll be fun, won't it? They spoke about how they interviewed more than 30 candidates, and Thomas Frank was the standout one, and they said he specifically stood out because of how good he is at developing younger players. And I do actually agree with this one. I've said it before. I think he'll develop the likes of Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Mikey Moore, but we need to see more than that. And they both sat there and praised each other, and Vinai went, all your stamina is something. I don't know how you do it. I think it's quite clear that last season a protest did get to Levy, and I think that played a part in his sacking of Ange. Of course, 17th is unacceptable. We can all agree on that. But I think at the same time, letting it get to that level with the protests, I think was too much for him. But I'm going to read you something that Vinai said specifically that I would like to see on the pitch going forwards. He said, foundations are brilliant, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe there is another level that this football club could go to. Well, actions speak louder than words, mate, so we will soon find out. Vinai added that he's spending a lot of time trying to understand what's important to the supporters. He's got a fan advisory board coming up. He's got to meet with the supporters trust. But what's important to us is seeing us listened to and heard. It's not seeing concessions scrapped. It's not seeing us paying one of the highest prices for season tickets and not seeing that ambition matched on the pitch. That's what we need to see. We don't need to see Tottenham leaving it until the last minute to sign those players again. If you want to take us to the new level, you have to try it. Come back to this in 12 months' time and we'll actually see, Mr. Levy, how true your words really were. How is Scott Munn still at the club, by the way?